Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you all had an amazing week. My name is Jordan Davidson, and for one final time before the playoffs, this is another edition of Behind the Bench. This week, the Mississauga Steelheads wrapped up the regular season with home games against the Oshawa Generals and the Peterborough Petes before traveling to North Bay on Sunday to take on the Battalion to close their season out. I was at all three games. Let's get this final weekly recap of the regular season started. The Steelheads came into this week with a lot to be decided still, starting with the Friday home game against the Oshawa Generals. Here is my pregame from Friday. That old familiar sight again. First of three games this weekend, the final weekend before the playoffs begin, and a lot still to be decided for the Steelheads. The Oshawa Generals, who we just played in their barn on Sunday, are in town tonight. Let's walk around. So the Steelheads are still in that 6th seed where they've been for the past 2-3 weeks now, but it is possible that by the end of this weekend, they could be anywhere between the 4 seed and the 7 seed. So there's still a lot that could still happen. The 1 through 3 seeds are locked up. Ottawa will be the 1 seed. North Bay will be the 2 seed. Barrie will be the 3 seed. Peterborough is in the 4 seed right now. They will be either the 4 or 5 seed. So whichever other team is either the 4 or 5 seed. Hamilton is in the 5 seed right now. But it could be Mississauga, it could be Sudbury. Whichever other team is in the 4 or 5 seed will play Peterborough in the first round. Whichever team is in the 6th seed, where Mississauga is right now, will play Barrie. Whichever team is in the 7th seed, which is where Sudbury is, will play North Bay, and Ottawa will get whoever survives between Oshawa and Kingston. After Oshawa beat us on Sunday, they were 3 points ahead of Kingston, but Kingston beat them head-to-head on Wednesday, so they are now back to just 1 point ahead. Oshawa is. So a lot could still happen. Both Oshawa and Kingston have 2 games left, including their head-to-head match in Oshawa this Sunday on the final day of the regular season. So, all right, we got a bus. And as a bit of a bonus, we got a truck as well. I'm not sure exactly who came in that. But yeah, it's the same truck we saw on Sunday. With our Anthony Sorelli Heartbreaker. But yeah, the truck is here, the bus is here. Which means the Generals are here. We got ourselves a game. Look at that, I found a pack of wild Generals. Oh, look out. What's up, boys? What's up, Mosh? Gonna say hi? Don't hug him to death. Actually, maybe you just should hug him to death. I don't know. What's up, boys? Oh, Mosh is running too. Oh, what's up, boys? Sorry if you're wearing headphones. Look at this thing right here.
Look at this jersey, guys. Angus.
Yeah.
What a
Angus approves.
Look, he's happy.
Yeah. I mean, he's focused right now, but yeah, trust me, he's happy. Making a friend.
Porter, that's your new friend. What's his name?
See, you got one already. Angus playing favorites over here.
Yeah.
Might be a little biased. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Not like you're wearing his jersey or anything. Oh. And Porter gets chocolate in return. Love it. Hold my chocolate well, don't eat it.
Yeah.
Angus wants chocolate too. All right. Love it. Now, what are the odds the chocolates will be there when they get back? Yeah. Porter making some more friends on the bench. Any of you guys got chocolate?
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight the Steelheads would like to honor a very special player of the franchise. On January 13th, against an Admiral Scott in 12:36 of the first period, he scored a goal that not only set the record for most goals in Steelheads history, but most points by any Steelheads player, past the likes of Owen Tippett and Michael McLeod. He currently sits at 127 goals and 242 points. Here to present him with a gift from the team as head coach and GM James Richmond and equipment manager Tom Schrader.
Alessio Bellieri would start in net for the Steelheads on Friday. For the Oshawa Generals, it would be Jacob Oster. Dylan Gordon would return from his injury. Unfortunately, Luke Misa would not. He would not be back this week at all, nor would Ryerson Leanders. So Chaz Nixon was up to dress as the backup goalie on Friday and Saturday. The puck dropped on Friday, and our game against Oshawa got underway. A pretty chippy game from the start. Angus McDonnell and Dylan Rubrick were kind of going at it from the opening face-off. They took it and were chirping each other like right from the start. There was a roughing call on Cameron Butler in the first minute that was killed off. But it was a Kai Schwint check to the head call, in which Cameron Butler took advantage. He took a shot from the right wing and buried it over the shoulder of Alessio Bellieri. Cameron Butler with the goal, gave the assist to Luke Torrance and Dylan Rubrick. That was at the 4:24 mark. It was 1-0 Oshawa, and that would be your score after one. Angus McDonnell, by the way, and Rubrick would eventually take mutual slashing calls at the 6:17 mark. So, yeah, they wouldn't stop. Shots were even, by the way, in the first period, 11-11. They were even again in the second period, 10-10, so 21-21 through two periods. Adam Zidlichki would be taken down on a breakaway by Ben Danford. He would earn a penalty shot, but that was stopped by Jacob Oster. The Steelheads, on a big rush, would finally get their tying goal, this time off the stick of Angus McDonnell. After a big multiplayer push, Angus McDonnell would finally finish it off with his 29th goal of the season, give the assist to Chaz Sharp and Dylan Gordon. This was at the 8:52 mark of the second period, and after two, it would be a 1-1 game. Third period, the Steelheads would finally take the lead in shots. It was 14-11 for the Steelheads in the third period, but around the 7-minute mark is when it started to kind of break down defensively for the Steelheads. Cameron Butler would score another goal that looked a lot like his first goal, pretty much from the same spot on the right wing. People were surprised. It looked very inconspicuous, but somehow it crossed the line. Cameron Butler with a second goal, assist to Luca D'Amato and Dylan Rubrick. That was at the 7:35 mark, and it's 2-1 Generals, and shortly afterwards, it'd start to get worse. Shortly after the second Generals goal, Adam Zidlichki takes a double minor for high sticking, and it's right off the ensuing face-off. Some passing, some shooting, and finally it's Ryan Gagne cleaning up a rebound for the Oshawa Generals to make it 3-1. Gagne with the goal, give the assist to Callum Ritchie and Beckett Seneca. Makes it 3-1 Oshawa. We're still on the penalty kill for 2 minutes, but we kill the second half off, no problem. But we are down 3-1. The Steelheads tried to turn on the Jets a little bit, but the comeback came up a little bit short. With the goal he pulled, Xander Vecchio would notch his 20th goal to make it 3-2. But unfortunately, that was all the Steelheads would get. It would be a 3-2 final for the Oshawa Generals. The hungry Oshawa Generals are just too much for the Mississauga Steelheads this week. Here are the 3 stars and my post-game from Friday.
Here are the 3 stars of the game now presented by Pro Hockey Night. Raise your game. The third star from the Generals, the great goal number 42, Cameron Butler. The second star with a pair of assists from your Steelheads number 28, Chaz Sharp.
There we go.
And the first star of the Steelheads with goal number 17, Steelheads are not home for long.
Okay.
Congratulations, James. Thank you.
Yeah.
Give his mom a hug.
Love it. Nice.
I guess not, no.
Yeah. How dare you score on my team?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, where's your phone? Oh. You want my phone? Oh, yeah.
Why are you wearing Strutty's shirt?
I left mine at home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at that.
Anytime it's a kid, it's cool. And it's on color. I knew it about that small team.
Oh.
She's a song.
Yeah. Alright. Oh. Yeah. Sydney. It's gonna be Finn's next birthday by the time you bring the card.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm sorry. I just need French and I didn't get that.
Yeah.
North Bay will be watching it for Jordan's. Sure, like, Jordan, come on.
Oh. Yeah.
Wait,
oh yeah.
Steelheads are playing in Mississauga.
Yep.
Jordan always travels. North Bay's a little far for us.
5 hole tonight. That's all right.
Could you
Yeah.
That guy was stopping everything, man. Most gave it. Went to the game on Sunday and he gave it. Got it for him. They won every game.
You mentor a slow shower. You mentor a really slow shower. He's cool anyway.
My time.
He takes the same amount of time when he does his games.
Wants to be clean.
Without a shower. You just sit down on the top and get out of here.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Have a good chat, everybody.
Alright. So the Steelheads had one more home game, and this time it was against the Peterborough Petes on Saturday. We saw the Petes last week and saw the return of Jack, Justin, and Stevie to Peterborough. And this time it was Owen Beck's turn to return home, and also the Steelheads' turn to honor their overagers, James Hardy, Charlie Callahan, and Casper Larson. Here is my pregame from Saturday. It's a rainy one today. There was some freezing rain near my town. Thankfully, I was able to avoid that on the way over. But yeah, for the last time this regular season, Paramount Fine Food Center, home of the Mississauga Steelheads. Let's walk around. So a little update on last night and the playoff implications. Oshawa did clinch their spot because Kingston lost their game, so Oshawa is now 3 points up on Kingston, so that game on the last day of the season against Kingston is not going to mean anything. So Oshawa was locked into the 8th spot. Peterborough is also now locked into the 4th spot. So we have Hamilton, Sudbury, and Mississauga. Yes, Sudbury won too, so Sudbury has leapfrogged Mississauga into the 6th spot. So Hamilton, Sudbury, Mississauga, all could still be anywhere between 5 and 7. So still some moving parts there. Obviously, we are finishing our season playing two teams that are very tough, but they are two teams that are locked into their playoff spots, so they won't be as hungry as Oshawa was last night. Like, obviously, they won't be trying to lose, but they won't be as desperate to win. So maybe they'll be experimenting, trying a few things, maybe playing the backups a little bit more. Yeah. Well, there's half the Pete's bus. I wonder if they're loading inside because of the whole Owen Beck situation, you know, expecting maybe fans to be waiting for him and maybe want to give him a little bit of space. Avoid the looky-loos or the Becky-loos, I guess. But yeah, the Petes are here. Owen Beck is presumably here. We've got ourselves a game. All right, there's Pete inside playing ball with Pete, and also Pete. Presumably soon they'll be joined by Pete, maybe Pete, also Pete, and of course, Owen. Is that a New York Giants hat, Freights? What happened to Bill's Mafia? I'm disappointed. Attaboy. That's our captain right there. The overage laps. And these guys jumped the gun. Oh well. Is the rest of the team here? Photo op. And here's the rest of the team. Or Or here's Sharpie, anyway. Becker! I'm gonna make this real original joke. Welcome back. Because his name is Beck. Yeah. Oh, Stevie! There you go. Good guy alert, Mr. Lescavar. Everyone wants a piece of Stevie now. He gave that kid a puck. Howdy, y'all. So coming up next are some clips from the overage ceremony. If you do want to see the whole thing in its entirety, Tyler Raines live streamed it for the Pro Shop Podcast YouTube. So I'll put the link in the description there, and you can click that and watch the whole thing if you want. But here are the clips.
To assist in tonight's pregame ceremony, please welcome to the ice James Hardy's family, Steve and Sonia Hardy.
Yeah.
Charlie Callahan's family, Shauna and John Callahan, accompanied by his billet, Ruth Harrington.
Yep.
And Pastor Larson's billet family, Bruno and Mateo Bolfada, and Tina Giantomaso.
Yep.
I just want to take the time to congratulate you guys on a great junior career. I don't only consider you guys teammates, but I consider you guys some of my best friends. And I just wanted to reach out to thank you guys for making my time in Mississauga the best years of my life.
Hey, Stewart fans.
Hey!
I got to know Casper over the past few years, and at first he came into the locker room as a quiet, shy person, but before you know it, he was making fun of me and cracking jokes. And to James and Charlie, who I got to know over the past 4 years, created so many memories over that time, and kind of really introduced me to the league and helped me along. I couldn't thank you guys enough. To those three players, I just want to congratulate you and wish you success in the future.
Hey fellas, congrats on an amazing
Okay.
Florida Cal. Thanks for my time and good luck for whatever comes next. James and Charlie,
Joe!
the league as young 16-year-old kids and together and share countless memories of us on the road, at home, at school, and at the rink. So just always be cherished, full of memories, and congratulations on everything you guys accomplished. And same with Casper, coming to Canada, must have been such a great experience, and you were such a great teammate and fit in so well right away. And I was going to remember those great ping-pong battles we had in the room. Hope you guys had a great day. Best of luck for the rest of the year. Go Steelheads.
I know that guy.
2 years I've been lucky enough to play alongside Casper Larson, also known as the Great Dane. Casper comes to the rink every day with a great smile on his face and always ready for a good game of ping pong. He's hands down the best player I've ever played against. For the last 4 years I've been lucky enough to play alongside James and Charlie, and I just want to thank them for making my original career so memorable. We've made friendships and memories that will last a lifetime. All the best moving forward, and this is for life.
The Steelheads would also like to extend congratulations to the Pete's overage players, Avery Hayes, Sean Spearing, and Gavin White. Best of luck to your futures as well.
Yeah. Alessio Bellieri would again be in net for the Steelheads. For the Peterborough Petes, it would be backup Liam Stushka, giving Michael Simpson a rest for the playoffs. Following a very touching ceremony for the overagers, James Hardy, Charlie Callahan, and Casper Larson, the puck would drop, we would get underway, and the action would start very, very quickly. This happened so fast that the video I just watched to try and review it didn't even show it very well, but just 8 seconds off the opening faceoff, Connor Lockhart made it 1-0 Peterborough Petes. Owen Beck and Chase Stillman got the assists, and yeah, 8 seconds into the game, we're down 1-0. It wouldn't take a real long time for the Steelheads to even it up, though. Just 4:47 into the first period, it'd be a left-wing shot from Kai Schwint, burying one, just sharp shooting it. I don't know how it got in, but it did. Kai Schwint with the goal, his 11th matching his jersey number, give the assist to Lucas Carmiras and Dylan Gordon, and we got ourselves a 1-1 game. Unfortunately for the Steelheads, the Petes would make it 2-1 by the end of the period, this time at the 11:55 mark. Chase Stillman would find Connor Lockhart in front of the net, one-timing it to him, and Connor Lockhart burying his second goal of the game, give the assist to Chase Stillman and Owen Beck, and at that point it is 2-1 for the Peterborough Petes, and that is your score after 1. Okay, new strategy. We have to.
New strategy.
Yeah, we have to tell the Steelheads that if they lose, Aiden will cry. Yeah.
We go down to the change room.
Yeah.
And we say this.
Yeah.
If we don't win, I'm taking all your girlfriends away. No
90% acceptance rate.
I mean, I don't know if the girlfriends would go for it, but
We're at 2-3.
yeah, I like the cry idea better.
The girlfriends go.
Yeah, but then if they lose, you have to actually cry though, because then it's an empty threat.
Oh, I can't cry on command. Like that.
Yeah.
Go downstairs.
How about now?
You suck. I'm never watching you again.
Cheer for
I lost a viewer, guys. Subscribe to make up for it.
Yeah.
Second period now, 3:10 mark, and a point shot by Sean Spearing is tipped in front by Quinton Page, who gets just his 4th goal of the season. Quinton Page with the goal, give the assist to Sean Spearing and the other defenseman on the ice, Connor Smith. You can make it 3-1 Peterborough Petes. Just a few seconds later, though, at the 3:42 mark, it's old reliable James Hardy showing us that he's got one more in him at least before his time is done in the OHL. Nice little deke move, and he gets it past Liam Stushka. James Hardy with the goal, Xander Vecchio with the lone assist, and it is 3-2 for the Peterborough Petes. Shortly after the Hardy goal, I don't remember the exact time because it's not on the box score, but Owen Beck thought he had scored against his old team too. They did review it though, and they found out that that play was offside. Owen Beck was a little miffed to have his goal taken away, but it would remain 3-2 Peterborough Petes, and that is your score after 2. Now, we noticed at some point early in the second period that Angus McDonnell was nowhere to be seen. I'm not sure exactly the reason. I didn't see an injury. I have heard, a rumor about what happened, but having not spoken to Angus, I didn't see him after the game, and I didn't see him on Sunday, so I'm not going to speculate on why Angus was out, but unfortunately it was a big loss. So we move to the third period now. We're hanging with the Petes, but they are still one of the most dangerous offensive teams in the league, and Brennan Hoffman decides to show us that early in the third period at the 5:27 mark. He snipes one past Alessio Bellieri with very little effort at all. Brennan Hoffman with the goal, give the assist to Tucker Robertson and Sean Spearing, and at that point, it is 4-2. Steelheads did lead the shots 35-28, so they were peppering the goalie like they like to do, but Peterborough is a very tough team to beat. Didn't get as physical as it did last week in Peterborough, but there was some chirping. Bryce Cook and Brennan Hoffman both going on for unsportsmanlike conduct midway through the third period. Unfortunately, the Steelheads would not see another goal, and the game would end 4-2 for the Peterborough Petes. Lots happening in this one. The return of Owen Beck, the overage celebration, and the last regular season home game. Here are the 3 stars and my post-game from Saturday.
Fans, here are tonight's 3 stars presented by Pro Hockey Life. Raise your game. All 3 stars playing their final home regular season games for the Steelheads.
Okay. Yeah. Good to see you, dude.
I do remember you.
I haven't seen it in so long.
I know, I do remember you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played in Christian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How's everything?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, why not? Nice response.
Yeah.
It is harder, but
I suppose there's debate if you put
meet everybody. Sure you meet all your lifelong friends.
Give it to Reese.
Yeah.
We need to miss you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Next round.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's true.
There you go.
She's trying to make a power play.
She has it. So if we're doing the burger thing, she'll do the burger.
Yeah. See, Steve. Okay. 30 seconds, go.
Finn Harding, Parker Von Hector, Steve Escobar, Corey Martone, Kai Schmidt, Casher Watson, Bryce Cook, Justin Wilson, Mason Zabeski, Justin Zoe, Luke Misa, Angus McDonough, Lucas Ramirez, Brian Trillers, Finn Binney, Adam Zaluki, Xander Vecchia, Dylan Gordon, Chad Sharp, James Hardy, Charlie Callahan.
Woo!
Fast.
Seconds.
Last year's team, go.
Finn Binney, Luke Blues, Chad Sharp, Kai Schmidt, Chris Larson, Evan Brand, Cal Chisholm, Jacob Brady, Adam Barkley, Ty Collins, what's his name? Michael Stubbs, Aiden Prayer, Xander Vecchia, Stephen Forgione, Zach Lavoie, Owen Beck, Max Dodick, Luke Misa, Dylan Gordon, Charlie Callahan, Roman Bazarin, Oli Biovercom, Ethan Del Mastro, James Hardy, and Joe Anger.
Okay.
Fast though.
That was 30 seconds. That was good.
Yeah.
Look at that.
She wants one. She wants one. No, look at that. No. She wants one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to show you something, but I didn't want to show you too much. Oh,
Look at that. Yankees who.
GG. Good luck, buddy.
Joe, how you doing?
Good. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
How's it for your
Good to see
game?
ya.
Too bad you guys can win though.
Oh yeah.
Can I get a picture?
Of course.
I haven't seen you in so long.
Old time's sake.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, no, when he played that first game, but he wasn't here for the first game.
Oh yeah.
That was a good one.
You like that?
Yeah, you liked
You
it.
like that? You made our team look.
Yeah.
You humiliated our team.
I don't know.
It was great. Everyone still cheered for you.
Yeah, it was nice to see everyone. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely weird to be on that side of the.
I know, right? Probably we're like, oh, people that know.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, it was nice seeing you guys. Take it easy.
See you good, Joe. Yeah.
Hey, good luck, North Bay.
See you, buddy.
See? It's not that hard.
Hey.
Yeah, well.
If you win tomorrow, maybe I'll get a hug. If you win tomorrow, maybe I'll get a hug.
No, I will.
So with one regular season game to go, the Steelheads would roll into North Bay and attempt to avoid North Bay in the playoffs. Here is my pregame from Sunday. We drove into North Bay on Sunday morning. Let's hope we climb back into 6th without any warning. All right, North Bay Memorial Gardens, home of the North Bay Battalion. This is where the Steelheads are closing their season, and it could potentially be where they're opening their playoffs too. Let's walk around. Well, hey, they appreciate their fans here too. Hey, if you're a fan of any team in this OHL or the CHL, you're all appreciated. Thanks for making junior hockey work. Found it. Now we're all set. Steelheads Battalion, at least this afternoon, and potentially for a little while longer. So the Steelheads are currently in the 7th spot, 1 point behind Sudbury, who's in the 6th spot. So what can change? Basically, if we lose, we stay in the 7th spot, we play the North Bay Battalion in the playoffs. But if we win and Sudbury loses their game in Sault Ste. Marie, and I believe it has to be a 0-point loss for them, then we would leapfrog into the 6th spot, and we will play the Barrie Colts. All of that will be decided this afternoon. Stay tuned. Excuse me, sir, is that your seat? Yeah. This is my seat, guys. Pretty nice, eh? Go at him, go at him. Oh! Tried to kick it. A little too fancy. The backup goalie of the day, I don't know how you say his name. It's either Montague or Monet. His first name is Wade. But, yeah. He's the backup today. Yep, coming out of a tank as hockey players do. But on the other hand, these guys.
It continues a tradition of creating custom paintings for our overage players. Please welcome Jack Lockhart. Our first recipient, number 19, Kyle McDonald. Our second overage member, number 8, Avery Winslow. And our third recipient, a player who made his first appearance with the troops in 2018, number 26, Kyle Jackson.
It's a Winslow sandwich on Kyle bread. Alessio Bellieri would start for the Steelheads for the third straight day. For the North Bay Battalion, it will be Charlie Robertson, Luke Misa, Angus McDonnell, and Ryerson Leaders were still unavailable for the Steelheads in this one. Chaz Nixon was returned to his junior team, so the backup goalie for the Steelheads today was, again, Wade Montague. I'm very sorry if I'm butchering your name. The North Bay Battalion scratched a lot of guys too. Let me see. Paul Christopoulos didn't play. Liam Arnsby didn't play. Josh Bloom, Kyle McDonald, Matvey Petrov didn't play. Dominic Vicentis didn't dress as well. So Steelheads were playing a team that was resting for the playoffs. Would they be able to prevail? The puck dropped, and we got underway. Steelheads led the shots in the first period 16-10, but it would be North Bay getting on the board first. Nikita Tarasevich with a little shuffle to Owen Van Steensel, who would bury it from the left wing to open the scoring. Owen Van Steensel with the goal, assist to Nikita Tarasevich and Pasquale Zito. And at the 11:25 mark, it is 1-0 for the Battalion. Battalion would make it 2-0 at the 13:07 mark. This time it was Jacob Terrien finding himself in front of the net and doing a little poke to get it past Alessio Bellieri to make it 2-0. Jacob Terrien with the goal. The assists go to Anthony Romani and Luke Burstowski, and it is 2-0 for the Battalion. There were just 4 penalties called in the entire game and just 1 in the first period. That was to the Battalion's Brett Bouchard for hooking, and the Steelheads would take advantage of that on a face-off that the Battalion initially won in their zone. Kai Schwint would get a steal and bury it past Charlie Robertson to open the scoring for the Steelheads, make it 2-1. It was an unassisted goal for Kai Schwint, and 2-1 is your score after 1. Early in the second now at the 2:58 mark, it's the 68th game, but there was still time for one more first for the Steelheads. Mason Zabeski finding Ryan Struthers in front of the net, and Struthers burying his first as a Steelhead. He had 3 for the Ice Dogs last year, but it is his first of the season and first as a Steelhead. Mason Zabeski with the lone assist on the Ryan Struthers goal, and it's 2-2 at that point. Shots in the second period, by the way, would be even more one-sided for the Steelheads. They'd be 14-5. But unfortunately, those 5 would be deadly for the Battalion. They would get the lead back on an Anthony Romani snipe from the right wing at the 10:57 mark of the second period. Romani's 23rd assist to Jacob Terrien and Dallin Wakely, and the Battalion get the lead back. It is 3-2. As I mentioned, just 4 penalties in the entire game, and 2 of them would happen late in the second period. 17:44, the Battalion's Alexander Lukin was called for holding, but less than a minute later at 18:36, the Steelheads were called for too many men. Porter Martone would go to serve that one. And while it was 4-on-4, the Battalion would get their 4th goal. The puck was on the stick of Ty Nelson. I was watching the clip, and the announcer said everyone wants Ty Nelson to shoot. But Ty Nelson instead finds Pasquale Zito in front of the net, and Zito gets the goal to make it 4-2. Zito's goal, Ty Nelson, and Kyle Jackson with the assists. That was at the 1938 mark. So 4-2 Battalion is your score after 2. It is tough when you allow 5 shots in the period and 2 of them wind up being goals. The Steelheads did dominate the shots for the whole game, 16-9 in the third period, 46-24 overall, but it would not be enough. The Battalion fans would get their Ty Nelson goal midway through the third at the 9:40 mark, as he ripped a point shot past Alessio Bellieri, give the assist on that one to Anthony Romani and Jacob Terrien. That would make it 5-2 for the Battalion, and 5-2 would be your final. As it turns out, Sudbury won their game too, so winning this game would not have made a difference for the Steelheads. They will face the North Bay Battalion in round 1 of the playoffs. 5-2 is your final. So the Steelheads dropped their last 4 games of the season. They dropped to the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference, and they will face the 2-seeded North Bay Battalion in round 1 of the playoffs. Here are the 3 stars and my post-game from the regular season finale. Well, it's official. guys. We're coming back here. I will be back on Sunday.
The third star from the battalion, number 27, was Carlos Joe. The second star from the battalion, number 15, Anthony Alfani.
Okay.
And the first star from the battalion, number 32, Charlie Thompson.
Yeah. Had to be. All right. We'll see you guys soon. Oh yeah. Come see a score. Yeah. Oh, you got a lift, yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
Teamwork. Hey, Dale. How you doing? Right. Night. Night, buddy. So a quick recap of the season. Basically, the Steelheads get off to a very strong start, and then in December it kind of tapers off when Ethan Del Mastro and Owen Beck go to the World Juniors. There's some injury trouble in December too, like Charlie Callahan is injured for a bit. He also has a 5-game suspension, so he's out for a bit. Casper Larson missed a few games as well to his suspension. So December was not pretty, just 6 points. And then the trades happen. Del Mastro and Del Bubbaluz go to Sarnia, and Beck goes to Peterborough. I believe we were 6 or 7 around that time. We were definitely 7 at some point. I can't remember if we were 6 or 7 on the day we made the trades. And I remember saying right after the trades, I don't think those trades were made to improve the current team. I think they were made to, you know, ease the transition into next year and make the team younger and potentially set them up to be a powerhouse in the future. But the trades happened, the new players got here, and we started playing better. Like, because we had a full roster again. It wasn't the same full roster that we had before, but it was a full roster, and it definitely helped us. It was a little funny, because I remember at the time we made the trade to Peterborough, we were kind of trading up to them, and eventually at some point we ended up passing them for a little bit. So, a little bit funny. We were as high as 4th following the trade deadline, but eventually things slowed down again. March was not our best month, just 7 points in March, and we finished March with 4 straight losses. So I think JR knew at the time he made those trades that the team was a lot better than they had been playing, and, you know, it's obvious. Like, they're a talented team, but, you know, we had guys away, we had injuries, we had suspensions, all that kind of stuff, and even with that stuff going on, it's hard to say, you know, this isn't our year. I think JR was very aware of how strong Ottawa is, how strong Windsor is, how strong North Bay is, and, you know, eventually did not see this as the championship year, so said, why not start the rebuild now? Why not ease the transition a bit and set this team up to be great in the future? You know, even I, as a diehard Steelheads fan, know it's going to be very hard for the Steelheads to beat the North Bay Battalion. If they do, that's incredible. But whatever happens in this series, you know, I'm very much looking forward to the off-season, see what the Steelheads can do with their cupboard full of draft picks, and see what happens next season. So the rest of the OHL playoff matchups are set. As I mentioned, the number 2 North Bay Battalion take on the number 7 Mississauga Steelheads. In the rest of the Eastern Conference, we have the number 1 Ottawa 67s taking on the number 8 Oshawa Generals. The number 3 Barrie Colts take on the number 6 Hamilton Bulldogs, and Sudbury, who leapfrogs into number 5 with their win, take on the number 4 Peterborough Petes. In the Western Conference, we have the number 1 Windsor Spitfires taking on the number 8 Kitchener Rangers, the number 2 London Knights taking on the number 7 Owen Sound Attack, the Sarnia Sting at number 3 taking on the number 6 Guelph Storm, and it's an all-Michigan matchup as the number 4 Saginaw Spirit take on the number 5 Flint Firebirds. Missing the playoffs in the Eastern Conference is the Niagara Ice Dogs and the Kingston Frontenacs. In the Western Conference, it is the Erie Otters and the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Those 4 teams will enter the draft lottery on Wednesday. The actual draft itself is on April 21st for the chance to win the #1 pick in the draft. The Niagara Ice Dogs, with the least points in the OHL at 33, have a 40% chance at getting that #1 pick, but either one of those 4 teams could end up with it. I believe, by the way, with their standing and their number of points, the Mississauga Steelheads will be picking 6th in the OHL draft, which is pretty good. You can get a pretty special player at number 6. The last player to be picked 6th overall was a guy named Jack Van Bolsen by the Peterborough Petes, who ended up being traded to the Steelheads in January, so it is possible to get a special player at that pick, so let's see what the Steelheads can do with it. Finally, let's close off by giving you the schedule for our first round series against the North Bay Battalion. Games 1 and 2 will be at the North Bay Memorial Gardens. Game 1, Friday, March 31st at 7 p.m., and Game 2, Sunday, April 2nd at 2 p.m. Games 3 and 4 will be at the Paramount Fine Food Center on back-to-back nights, Tuesday, April 4th, and Wednesday, April 5th, both at 7 p.m. Game 5, if necessary, will be back in North Bay on Friday, April 7th, which, by the way, is Good Friday. So if you have a holiday that day, consider making a road trip. That is again at 7 p.m. on Friday, April 7th. Game 6, if necessary, is back in Mississauga on Sunday, April 9th at 2 p.m. That is Easter Sunday. So before your Easter dinner, consider getting some hockey in. Finally, if a winner-take-all Game 7 is needed, it would be back at the North Bay Memorial Gardens Tuesday, April 11th at 7 p.m. As I mentioned before, I do plan to go back to individual game vlogs for the playoffs, but there won't be one for Game 1 as I cannot travel to the game. That's why we're doing the live stream instead. But I will be at Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, Game 5, Game 6, and hopefully Game 7. So anyone who's going to the playoff games, I hope to see you guys there. As always, I end by asking the OHL and CHL please allow the fair use of your professional and amateur footage. Help the small media so they can help you. Until next time, you can find me behind the bench and only the bench. This is Jordan signing off. Have a great one, guys. Bye-bye. And good luck to the Steelheads in the playoffs.